Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Kat here, and today I'm going to give you my overall review about this bike which I'm riding right now. That is Honda CB350RS. I own this bike for like 4 or almost 3 months now. So I believe I can give you my overall experience and what I like or dislike about this bike now. So first thing first, guys, I'm not a professional rider or reviewer. I'm just going to give you my overall experience about this bike which I had. This is about it. So I'm just going to give you my overall riding experience I had, because I believe in a long run, when you want to buy a bike, you can't judge it just by its spec sheet, because it's the overall riding experience of the bike that matters in the long run. So talking about the engine of this bike, it has a 349cc air-cooled engine, and it has, I believe, 20.8 bhp and 30 Newton meter of torque, which gets delivered at 3000 rpm, and 21 bhp of power gets delivered at, if I'm not wrong, 5500 rpm. So it's a 5-speed gearbox. And I believe it's good up to 4th gear, but in 5th gear it's nothing but an overdrive gear. So I actually don't like the 5th gear of it, because you don't get any power, any torque, so you really can't push the bike. So even when I'm at highway right now, I actually had to downshift from the 5th gear because the bike had no power to overtake. So you'll often find yourself downshifting to 3rd or 4th gear when you are in 5th gear or cruising at 5th gear. So that's, you can say, one of the cons of this bike, that its 5th gear is just an overdrive gear. I would have liked it if it had 6 gears, to be very honest. So, but we can't help with that. So the engine is no vibration. The engine is really refined. That's what you can expect from Honda. So that's what I like about this bike. Now if I talk about the overall performance and how it performs really great. You won't feel any problem at all, like for an average rider like me, and for like most of you guys, it won't possess any problem at all. Now if I talk about the suspensions, I believe they are a bit on firmer side. You will actually feel it, both the front and rear. So it has a front telescopic forks and rear doing suspension as well. So that, I believe, is on a bit firmer side, and you will actually feel it when you are going over bumps at slightly higher speed. Otherwise any bike can perform good at slower speeds. Now if I talk about the brakes, you guys can see I just brake right now. I believe the brakes are pretty nice. They are decent, but I would have liked it if they would have had more bite. So you will actually feel that the brake lacks a bite, because if you are panic braking or suddenly braking, the bike won't give you that response you are looking for. So that was my experience with it, because in this segment there are bikes which are under 3 lakhs. Under 3 lakhs there are many bikes like this which have better brake response. So I believe the brakes would have been a tad bit better. Now if I talk about the comfort and overall riding experience, is nice. You get the throttle response is pretty decent, except in 5th gear you will find yourself downshifting, as I mentioned. The seat is also a bit on firmer side. You will feel your rear getting hurt for short distances, but that's actually pretty good seat if you are going on a long tour or you want to cruise long distance, because softer seats, you can say, are good for short distances, and a bit firmer seats are good for long distances. They won't give you any kind of pain or nicks or anything like that if you are going on long distance touring or something like that. So that won't be a problem for you, to be very honest, and as it's not a problem for me as well. Now the bike also has a semi-digital, what was I saying? Semi-digital odd instrument cluster, which has everything you need: trip A, trip B, range, instant mileage, your overall average average fuel consumption, stuff like that. And the bike also has a torque control. I don't know what Honda calls it, HSTC or something like that, but I'll just call it traction control, which you can manually switch off if you want. But I don't recommend turning it off, because you never know when it can come in handy. So it's always good to leave it turned on. You can, however, turn it off by long pressing the second button for hardly like 2 seconds. The traction control, I won't say is the greatest, but it's better than having it rather than not having it at all. So I believe that's a good feature to have, and I believe it's the first in this segment. Now if I talk about the fuel economy, I get around I'll not talk about myself, because I ride pretty aggressively, so that definitely affects the fuel economy. But you can easily get around 35 to 40 kilometer per liter of fuel economy if you ride well. But if I talk about me, I easily get around 30 to 32 kilometer per liter. Now one thing to note, guys, is that if you want to looking for a bike that goes like really high speed, this is not the one for you. It's more of a comfortable rider which can give you speed, but don't expect much. If you want such a bike, like, you know, racing and all that, I recommend going for Dominar if you are looking for some such bike in under 3 lakh segment. So Dominar is the one for you. So yeah, that's pretty much my riding experience. So the question arises, who is this bike for exactly? So this bike is for someone who is looking for a good riding bike, a good daily commuter. I'll call it a premium daily commuter. And you can also do like long distance touring on this one. That won't be a problem at all. So this is the perfect bike for that. Now if you compare it with Royal Enfield Meteor, even though that's a totally different segment, that's a long distance cruiser bike, and this is more of a, what you say, naked bike or street bike. So that's a totally different segment. I won't compare it. And technically speaking, the Meteor has a bit of less torque, a bit of bhp than this bike. So I actually will not compare it with the, what you say, Royal Enfield Meteor, even though that's a really nice bike. Now the one thing I really like about this bike is the sound of the exhaust, guys. Now I hope you can listen to this. Let me just try it a bit. If I get a clear stretch right now, gotta be careful, not gonna do rash driving and stuff like that. I hope I can get you guys to hear the sound of the exhaust now. I hope you guys are able to hear the sound of the exhaust. So the sound of the exhaust is really nice, like it's symphony to my ears. And this bike has a really good road presence. So I get stopped a lot by the people. They ask me about this bike, like how it performs, and the first question they ask, like, why Bullets is better? And I'm like, bro, I'm not, there's no comparison between Royal Enfield and this bike. They are totally different segments. It will be stupid to compare these two bikes. So that's pretty much my answer. But if I have to give answer in like really layman's term, you can say, I'd say this bike is better performance wise, and like the fuel economy is really great if you are looking for a good daily commuter, and the road presence is already really good. Then the road presence is really good on this bike. So that's pretty much my experience about this bike. I hope you can get the idea. The ride is really smooth, no vibrations. Although there's one thing to note is that the bike has pretty tall gearing. The second gear goes up to 80, the third gear goes above 100. So I believe that's a nice and a bad thing at the same time, because you won't find yourself shifting gears that much. So, but I would have preferred if they would have given a bit of a shorter gearing, even though you can change it by changing this sprocket. But not a problem at all, to be honest. So yeah guys, that's pretty much my experience about this bike. The bike is performing really decent. And that's it from my side, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for watching. If you find my video helpful, please do like the video and consider subscribing to my channel. And if you have any suggestions, please recommend down below. I would love to know what you have to say or what you have to suggest. Thank you so much, guys. And if I missed out anything, then again, make sure to comment. I'll be bringing you more content related to bikes, and I'll also be giving you the highway review of this bike, a Honda CB350RS. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.